vanilla, vanilla extracts, vanilla paste, and if you have questions, you can post your questions, and Kim's gonna do her best to answer them. And Kim, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're doing here today?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate it. I have really enjoyed vanilla for the last 3 years, going on 4 now. And as you can kind of see a little bit of what I've accumulated here. I
Mhm.
live in Arizona, and Arizona cottage laws are pretty strict here. So unfortunately, I'm not able to sell any of my liquid or my paste. So I've now turned it
Oh,
into powder. And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
oh, interesting.
I have 2 cats, and I have a husband and a house, and lots of vanilla.
It looks like it, yep.
Thank you. Well, let's see. I think what I'd like to do is start off a little bit about the vanilla bean itself.
Sure.
The actual plant takes 3 years before you can even receive a vanilla bean. And so each of those flowers, 3 years on, have to be hand pollinated, and the beans have to be hand picked. So that is really drives the price of each of vanilla beans very high. And depending on the country you get it from, it can be even higher.
Right, I
Um,
imagine Hawaiian beans would be more than, beans from, any of the other countries I can think of that
Madagascar
grow.
or right. Hawaiian bean. I use a site called Indra Vanilla, and they pay a fair wage for their vanilla beans. And I only go to that site to purchase them because of that fact. I do not ever want to be involved in anything that's going to cause somebody else not to have a living because I want to be greedy and get something
For
cheap.
a few dollars less, right? I
Right,
100% agree. Yeah.
right. Not the way I want to live my life.
Yeah.
So, yes, Hawaiian beans were probably almost close to 3 times, two and a half times higher than Madagascar beans. But again, it costs more to live in Hawaii than it
Yeah.
does in Madagascar or Uganda or any of these other countries. So
Mexico, yeah.
yeah, the plant again, it's a tropical plant. It takes a lot of moisture and humidity in the air and heat. It doesn't do well in other countries. That's why it's only located in most tropical countries. So, but beautiful plant if you can ever find it.
I imagine.
Um, a, a lot of extract that we get from the store is mass produced. And because it's mass produced, you're going to get maybe all kinds of different beans thrown in depending on what's in season and what they can get. Primarily, though, they use Madagascar beans. And Madagascar, of course, comes from a country that is probably what they would consider a third world country. So you can get the beans at a very inexpensive price and still have a good wage living for the people who are producing the vanilla beans. Um, well, let's see. Because of so many different varieties of beans, a lot of people have decided to do it at home. And
Yep.
here I am doing it at home. Not only that, because of the expense factor, it's also because of the quality factor.
Yeah,
The,
exactly.
right, that extract we buy at the store is a single fold, and a single fold is not very strong. I like some vanilla with when I put it in. So I create double and triple fold, which means the intensity of the vanillin is much stronger than what you would get at the store.
Right.
Okay. Uh, I I'll go into a little bit about the vanilla bean itself. Um, all the beans are different. The sizes are different. The lengths are different. The amount of vanillin that is in each bean is different. And so you will get a different color, a different intensity depending on the bean you're going to use.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I did not understand or realize when I first started this journey what the difference was. I thought it was all the same.
Right.
It's not.
I think
Um,
especially in the Indra group, it's always said, you can't pick a bad bean. They're all good beans. So you kind of start thinking, oh, I guess they're all the same, but they're not all the same. They're just all good.
they're
Good in
from
different ways.
Right. Well, we've all gone to the grocery store and we've looked at that little single bean inside that big jar, and it's all skinny and dried up. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
thought we were getting the bomb because we were getting a bean. Now that I know about Indra, no. I'm embarrassed to say that yes, I did purchase one of those beans for 19.99. It was
Oh, that's
19
painful.
$20 for one bean. Crazy.
Right.
Never again. Never again.
Never
Thank you,
again.
Sarah. Thank you so much. um, Beans. These beans, you can process these beans until there is nothing left. Each bean gets extracted twice. The first time it gets extracted, I call that my premium extract. And then the second extract is my just generic, I give that stuff away. But I don't give away my premium. I use it. It's for me. Also, I don't give away my very expensive beans. Those again are for me. I'm greedy, selfish, whatever you want to call it.
Well, you're
I
baking with it, right? You're probably not
that,
eating all your baking yourself.
oh, absolutely no. And I'll just a little caveat: do not drink this. Do not go in and start drinking your vanilla extract. Don't do it. Just don't.
I can't even
I've
imagine.
heard stories. Ew.
Oh,
Now, on that vein, if you have someone who absolutely cannot have alcohol, and there are some people that um, struggle with alcohol issues, you can make your extract in glycerin. Glycerin
mhm.
requires to be kept in the refrigerator because it doesn't stay on shelf stable, but it'll last for about a year and a half, 2 years in the refrigerator. It's not as strong. Personally, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stick with the alcohol base, uh, but you can do it. You
I've
can.
done it too. I found it didn't really I didn't love it until it was 2 years old, and then now I love it, it's great, but I really needed to sit and I mean, to be honest, it's about to pass its expiration date, for the glycerin,
Yes.
and I've been keeping mine on the counter, but it seems okay, but I don't know, it's really good. I'm trying to use it now instead of my extract because I wanna use it up before, it expires. We did have a
I
question come in. Francis Hawkins asks, "What was the name of the first beans?" I'm not sure, Francis, the first beans that were mentioned here. I'm not sure what the question is referring to.
Well, Francis, if you're talking about my beans, the very first beans that I extracted, let me find it here. This is a Madagascar bourbon cured, and I started this process on 10/20.
I love
So
that bottle.
these are old Patron bottles.
Oh,
My son likes Patron, so I swiped all the bottles when he was done with them. And on the same vein, these brown bottles, they're all cold coffee bottles.
oh,
Even if you
interesting.
go buy the cold brew coffee, save these brown bottles because they're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. Light can't get into them. It can't deteriorate the value of your vanillin. Wonderful. Just wash them out. They're great.
Awesome.
So I hope that answers your question about the which one that I used first. And when I bought them from Indra, it was called Ignatius.
Oh, I
And that
forgot.
was, yeah,
All the
that
beans
was,
have different names.
yeah, I think these were from a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie now, but it was a very popular movie that all the kids watched. So yeah, that was my very first one. And that one was on order. It took about 3 months to get in. I still got it because I was so excited about doing this. So I hope that answered your question, Francis.
And then the dairy says, she's gonna have to come back and rewatch it later, but, she loves the names on the bottles. Did you do that with a Cricket?
I did.
Okay, yeah.
I love my Cricut. I don't know how to do all of it on my Cricut, but I'm learning.
I wish I could. I have a Cricut and I don't use it to its full. I barely ever use it, to be honest. I need to learn it better, but that's not what we're here to talk
Yeah,
about.
that's right. That's a whole other video.
That's a whole other video. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So whenever you get your extracts, what you're doing is you are extracting the oil or the vanillin from the bean itself. You don't, there's no water in it. You don't want, that's not, if you have water in your beans, something's wrong. Okay. Um, so because you're using oils, you can't extract with water. It doesn't work. Water and oil don't mix, but alcohol does. Now, some people, when they do this, they'll use Everclear and water, distilled water, and they'll use a 50-50 mix. Everclear is 180%, and that is too high. It will actually dry out your beans, and you won't have any um, oils. It'll just burn it up. So you want to keep it right at about 80 to 90%. So if you use Everclear, you must half and half with distilled water. Don't use tap water. It's got too much minerals in it. And when you do mix the distilled water and the Everclear, it will be cloudy. Wait until the cloudiness clears up. Then add your beans, because you're going to, they have to get together and combine for the extraction to work properly. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're putting in with water and alcohol that's not mixed up, and you could damage your beans. So
I think Everclear comes in some different. I'm in Canada and I have never seen Everclear in person. We don't have it in our liquor stores, but I think it comes in different strengths depending on which state you're in, maybe, from what I understand.
yeah,
I guess
here in
then
Arizona,
you have to figure out your ratios to make sure you get the right ratio
right?
of
You
water.
don't want to have over 90% because, or actually over 100%, because it will dry out your bean, and then you wasted your bean.
Right, absolutely.
You don't want to do that.
A couple other questions. This will be available on the replay. There will be a replay, Suzanne. And Tony Wynn says, what size jar for 1 cup of double fold? Would 8.5 be large enough?
Okay, so yes and no. You're going to need to allow space and room for the beans themselves on top of your ounces of liquor. The beans will disperse your space. So if you are going to only use, say, a half a cup of liquor, you're going to want to, and to get a double fold, you're going to want to use a full ounce of beans. At the site, they don't do the beans based on numbers, because the beans can weigh so many different weights. So it's always done by weight, and it's always done by ounce. And a single fold is 1 cup of liquor to 1 ounce of beans. I don't do single fold anymore. I show you one jar. I did single fold in the very beginning, and it is very light, and you really can't tell. There it is. See how light that is? That's very light, and that's a single fold. And that's before I learned. That's before I got smart and decided I needed a double fold.
Double fold, yeah. It seems more economical to make double fold too.
Very much so. And it tastes better. It gives you a better quality, flavor, and taste.
Yeah.
All right, did I answer that question?
I think that was it for questions there so far that I can see.
Okay. Now, we've gone through extraction. You have to use some kind of an alcohol. It doesn't work for water or glycerin. And glycerin, as you've heard, it's not as powerful, it's not as strong. Now, once you've done a premium extraction, you can then do a second extraction on your beans. That second extraction doesn't have to sit as long. It can sit anywhere between 6 months and a year. But I let mine sit for a year just because. Once that's happened, you've pretty much taken most of the vanillin out of the beans. So then what are you going to do with the beans? Let's make some paste. So then you take your beans and you'll make a paste. And the paste is what gives you those beautiful specks inside your vanilla cupcakes, your cakes. the beautiful speckles that professional bakers use. That's how they get that. So paste, there's a recipe at Indra called Alex Green. It's a no-cook paste recipe. And if you have an opportunity, I'd go over there and get that recipe.
I
You do
actually
need
in the description, I linked a video where I use that recipe and showed how
perfect.
to make it. So
Perfect.
it's a nice, easy recipe. It's great. I think the video is only like 2.5 minutes long because it's a very simple recipe.
There was one thing though, to make sure you have a very powerful blender. Don't try to use it on and don't be surprised if your blender starts to smoke and stops and shuts off. It's just that it's very thick and you'll need to thin it out a little more if that happens. Okay. So you're gonna make paste. Paste again, wonderful stuff for baking. Um, one more thing you can do with paste, if you have too much paste only, it has a shelf life of about 18 months to 2 years. You can dehydrate your paste and now you can make powder. Vanilla powder is sold in Europe quite a bit. And as you can see, let me get a little piece of it. It just dries up into chunks.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
so you
I
can
thought it
see.
was already in powder form. I didn't realize.
Yeah. This is straight off of the dehydrator, and this is how it's going to look off the dehydrator. After you take it off the dehydrator, you're going to set it in a blender and blend it up, and then you're going to strain it. And this is the powder that you get.
Beautiful. Look at that. Wow, that's a
Unbelievable.
lot of powder.
That's a lot of powder, and this now will last. I can put this in a seal a meal, seal it up, or put it in a jar, and put it on my pantry, and it will stay there for years, because it's dried out.
Yeah.
Extracts also last for years. I can't sell extracts, but I can package this baby up right here, and I can sell it to anybody that wants powder because there's no alcohol in it now. And your cottage laws, you'll have to check with your own state or country's cottage laws to see what you can do in your own. I'm in Arizona. Our cottage laws are very strict.
Hmm.
You don't want anybody to die.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
No, I'm all there for it. I'm there. So another thing you can do that I really enjoy doing is I make sugar cubes.
Oh,
And these sugar cubes are vanilla infused. And you can find all kinds of shapes.
oh,
These I make for Valentine's Day. They're little hearts.
oh, I love that.
And talk about delicious. Drop one of these. Now these are this size is 3 teaspoons. Put that
Each
in your tea.
each heart is 3 teaspoons, or each heart?
Each heart is 3 teaspoons.
Oh, interesting.
And you can get different size molds for different size that you like. But I find people that want the vanilla, they like the sweetness too. So I make them in 3 tablespoon size or teaspoon sizes. And that is really helpful to them. And you can do it too. It's very simple. Get your sugar, take your vanilla, mix it together until it's kind of sandy moist, and press it into your mold and let it sit overnight. When the alcohol extracts, the vanillin or the oils stick to that sugar and make it stay in a shape.
And then, would somebody snack on that like a piece of candy, or would they drop it in? I mean, it seems like a lot of sugar for a cup of coffee, or is it
Well, you'd
people?
make them smaller. You'd make them smaller. You can. I have them in 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoon, and 3 teaspoon sizes. It just depends on what your mold is and what your purpose is. These are Valentine's Day things, so people like sweet things, and in a cup of hot chocolate or in something. Yep, it's going to be sweet, but they'll love it.
Yeah, no doubt.
You
No
will.
doubt. Did you wanna
Okay.
show us some of your extracts there, or have you got more goodies there to show us?
So what I've done, all of these extracts in this type bottle, these are what I call the long sit. I did not heat them. I just took the beans, dropped them in the alcohol, put the seal on, and then I sealed them up so that the alcohol can't escape out, and I let them sit. So these have been sitting for 3 years, almost 3 years. Everything else I do, I use a sous vide method. On the sous vide method, you take your beans, you put them in the jar, and you put your alcohol in, and then you set them in a sous vide, and you put your temperature at 130 degrees, and you let it sit in the sous vide for about 6 hours up to 10 hours. And what that does is it activates the oils to encourage them to come out of the bean, and to heats up the alcohol so that it is more receptive to the oils. And it jumpstarts your processing. So most of these have been you can process for a year and you're done. You can decant them and use them. I like the sous vide method because I love to see the colors start so soon.
Oh, yeah. Now, there's a lot of debate I've heard. People have various opinions to cut or not to cut. Which camp are you on? To
In
cut
my first,
premium?
no, in the premium and my first run, I do not cut. On my second run, I cut to open up and get the actual seeds out of the bean. They'll stay, a lot of them will stay in there, but a lot of them will come out in the second run. On the third, when I process the beans in the food processor, that's where everything else comes together. Whatever is left gets processed there. So I am the first run, no cut, second run, cut, third run, grind it up. So I get a little smaller as I go down.
Right.
So, but again, it just is preference.
Yeah.
In my premium, I don't want seeds in there. I don't want the little specks. I
Oh,
just
no.
want the vanillin. So, and that's my preference. Everybody is different. I've seen people cut them. I've seen them slice them all the way down and peel it out. There's all different ways, and whichever way works best for you, perfect.
I agree. I agree. There shouldn't be rules. It's all good. It's all
That's right.
good.
Especially in this is a very forgiving art form. It's very forgiving. You can't really mess it up unless you I don't know, put water in it. I think
Well,
it's the
even
only way
water,
to.
I mean, you can add a little, I mean, unless you get it to it so the alcohol content's not high enough,
Right.
then
But
you'd be
but
fine.
that does happen. So one caveat. They would have like flavored vodkas and flavored liqueurs. I would steer away from those because they will affect the vanilla taste. If you get a lime vodka and throw a vanilla bean in there, first off, check the proof, because sometimes they're less proof, they're not high enough. But you're going to change. It's going to change the whole taste. In that case, drink it.
Yeah. No, I have played a little bit with flavored vodka, a little bit. I did a little cherry because I thought cherry vanilla sounds delicious to me. And chocolate. I got some chocolate too because I thought chocolate vanilla, but it's not done yet, and it's a little low on the alcohol. I could top it up with some higher alcohol content to bring the alcohol percentage up, but I think it's okay. I think it's
Yeah,
okay. Keeping my eye on things.
yeah. Just watch it carefully. If you start seeing any bubbles or any changes on the inside of it, it's not good.
Yeah.
That means the alcohol was not high enough, and
Yeah.
you really do need to get a higher grade in there.
Yeah.
And the beauty of Everclear.
I can get some higher alcohol, like higher percentage alcohol. For the most part, I would have to order that. Just in
Yeah,
Ontario, at least, we have pretty archaic alcohol regulations around here, but
yeah, I understand that.
yeah.
Well, through Indra, I've been very lucky that I have many different countries where my beans come from.
Yes, let's hear about them.
So this one is Uganda. Ugandan beans are like, in my taste buds, are like Madagascar beans. They have the same similar flavor. There is a little difference, but yes, it's a similar flavor. These are just Madagascar beans processed normally. Normally means they're laid out on a mat and dried out. The next one I have are Madagascar beans that are bourbon cured. So these beans are actually cured through another process, not just laying out. Every bean is washed in a rum to make sure that any bacteria, any molds are killed and before it's being shipped out. This one I have is from Tahiti. This one is Sri Lanka, my favorite for whipped cream. Oh, all of these ones I just told you about are great for baking. The flavor in a baked good is perfect. But the lighter vanillas like Sri Lanka, like um, Papua New Guinea, those are really good in whipped cream, not baked, but because the flavor is light and it's delicate, so nice. So,
Oh,
okay, this is Indonesia. Yep, told you about Papua New Guinea. This is Hawaii. This is India. And this is my favorite, Mother Mix-a-Lot. She has every bean that I have ever had has been stewed and processed in here.
nice.
Her vanillin content is higher than any of the other extracts that I have because every bean that has been in here has been there for almost 3 years.
Wow.
So Mother Mix-a-Lot is my favorite flavor.
So, Francis is asking if you use Everclear or do you use a different alcohol?
I used vodka, and I use vodka because, quite honestly, I'm lazy and I don't want to have to worry about mixing and waiting and the Everclear and the water. What happens if the two don't distill or mix up correctly? Then I'm going to have a cloudy batch, and I'm just lazy. It's easier for me just to go buy the vodka. Now, I do
Uh,
know go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Yeah. I do know that there's quite a few people that will use a whiskey or a rum and infuse their vanilla that way, and it creates a different flavor when they're baking. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Personally, I tried to do some with whiskey and I didn't care for it myself. I guess
Um,
I really like the vanilla. I just like that vanilla flavor.
yeah, I did I have made some. It's still I haven't tasted it yet, but with rum. It was my first venture out of using vodka. I feel safe with vodka. I don't drink alcohol at all, period. So I don't really have a preference or I don't, I get in the liquor store and I get overwhelmed actually with all the bottles and bottles and bottles of choice. So I get panicky and I just go to vodka.
Well, and if you ask the clerk for some help, oh my goodness, they start asking you questions and you say to them, I just want to make vanilla extract. And they look at you like you're nuts. What do you mean you're not going to drink it? No.
I usually go in and then I look at the bottles and I'm like, "Which is the prettiest bottle? Which bottle
I
has"
know. That's why I like these Patron bottles. I thought
Yeah.
these Patron bottles are the neatest looking bottles.
Yes, they are nice bottles. I bought, and then I bought the last vodka I bought, maybe it wasn't the last or maybe it was. It was a handcrafted vodka, and I'm a weaver, so I like to make handcrafted everything, so I'm like, "Ooh, hand" and I had a picture of a bunny, and I have 2 pet bunnies. I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, I have to buy this. I have to buy the one with the bunny and handcrafted."
yes.
Nothing
And
to
did
do with
you
I have no
I
other
am
reason.
amazed at the bottles. I do karaoke, and one of the places we go to is a bar for karaoke. And I go to the bartender every time I'm there. You guys have any special fun bottles that you're throwing in the trash today? And if they do, I take them. I'm very frugal. There's no reason why.
Yeah,
Free,
why not?
free.
Um, when I first started brewing kombucha, this is a little different, but I was trying to find like beer bottles with the little flip top lid. I even went to the beer store see if I could buy some like similar to that. Yeah, that type of lid. I don't, but they didn't. I ended up not
Yeah,
using those.
I found these were very expensive, and this wasn't. This was part of the cold coffee. I got it for I got it when I bought the coffee, so
Right.
it's
Yeah.
technically free.
Francis was wondering, do cheaper vodkas work as well as expensive vodkas? What's your opinion on that?
Yes, I think that, and because, so here's the thing on price difference in vodkas. If you're going to drink the vodka and shoot the vodka, you need a smooth vodka to do that, or otherwise, I'm pretty sure you're going to rip up your throat. In extracts, because extracts sit for 2 years, you don't need to spend the money on that high quality vodka. I buy New Amsterdam, I think it's called, and it is probably, it's not as cheap as Smirnoff, but it is right there. It's in the same line. But I like it because it is filtered. I've tried to find the cheapest one that's filtered the most. Sometimes I can find a 4 times filtered vodka. That's really smooth. And that can work too, but it doesn't have to. You don't have to spend high dollar amount for your extract. Remember, you're not drinking it, you're baking with it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree
So
with that.
don't spend that money. Don't spend, unless you're going to gift it to somebody and you want to, it means something special. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter that much. I
spend
probably
your
would
money.
buy super, 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 I don't know. If something seems super cheap, I might be hesitant to buy it. I'm probably gonna shoot for something more middle of the road myself, right?
Right. And
But I
it's all in our tastes, whatever our tastes are, because some people, they can actually, since vanilla is made of extract, or alcohol, when you smell it, you should smell some alcohol.
Mhm.
There should be a little faint hint of alcohol in there. If
Yeah,
you don't, that means you got some really strong or vanilla in there. And so that's more of a probably closer to a triple fold.
I have never liked the taste of vanilla extract straight.
No.
It's gotta be
Now,
diluted into something, and
so
then I love it.
let's talk about taste testing.
Yes.
How can you, yep, how can you tell if which vanilla you like the best or not? Whipped cream. Go to the store, get yourself a container of whipping cream, whip that up, and don't put any sugar in it, don't put anything in it, just whip that up. Then separate it out in little containers and put in a couple of drops, a drop. It kind of depends on how much whipped cream you have, and then taste it that way. Tasting it that way really helps to give you that texture in your mouth that's not going to give you that bitterness of the alcohol.
Right.
So always mix it with a cream kind of a product if you're going to taste test. And that's where you're going to find out, oh my, this Sri Lankan is really good.
Is that
It
what you
tastes,
did to taste test yours?
yes, that's how I taste test mine. I'll be having a program pretty soon where through my church where I will be doing taste testing vanilla. And
Oh,
I will
fun.
do just that. We'll whip up a bunch of it and we will put some taste in there and then I will let them taste it and they
Mm.
can see.
Pearl LG, I think, is asking, how do you make double fold?
Okay, double fold. We use ounces when we are talking about creating the extract. A single fold is 1 cup to 1 ounce. So 1 cup of alcohol to 1 ounce of beans. A double fold is 2 ounces of beans to 1 cup. And a triple fold is 3 ounces of beans to 1 cup. These all will still have to sit the same amount of time. If you use the sous vide method and warm it up, your sitting time will probably be close to a year. If you use just the straight long sit method, you're probably looking at closer to 18 months to a year before you get your full extract out. And then remember, you're going to extract it again.
Right.
So those are the different folds that we talk about. And the Madagascar bean, or the Madagascar extract that you get at the store is single fold.
Right. You and I discussed just before going live about how the last vanilla extract that I purchased, I bought at Costco and it was just regular vanilla off the shelf. And I didn't like I literally every time I made anything with it, all I could taste was blah, alcohol. I hated it. I did not like it at all. So I had actually stopped using vanilla altogether. until I found the Indra Vanilla Group and started making my own, and I've never looked back, and I will never, ever buy vanilla from the store again, ever.
Yeah.
Because now I
My
love
neighbors,
vanilla again, where I didn't for a long time.
yeah, my neighbors are the same way. Since I have gifted them for Christmas, I gave them an assortment of vanilla for Christmas.
Nice.
And when they are done, every one of them has come back to me to get some more extract from me because the extract they get at the store leaves an aftertaste. And I would also encourage you to check the ingredients of any vanilla that you buy at the store. If you look at the back of those ingredients, what should it say? It should say alcohol, it should say bean, and it might say some distilled water
It should
because
I
if
think
they're
it should say
using,
water is the main ingredient because even 60%, I don't know, I forget I get confused about the percentages, ABV but alcohol has water in it, right? And when on the ingredients list, it's going to
and it
show
should,
water.
right,
I
but it
believe
should never be the first ingredient.
I think it is usually.
It
I
should
think it
never
is.
be. There you go. Think about it. Think about it. When we use vodka, yeah, there's some water in the vodka, but it's primarily alcohol.
But if it's 45% ABV, which is like 80%, then it's 65% water. So that's more than alcohol. Yeah.
Is that backwards? I thought that was
Backwards.
backwards.
It's we usually do 40 to 50% ABV, I believe.
Okay.
Alcohol by volume, so the other
Yes.
rest of it is water. So
Okay.
yeah, but it's gonna
All
be
right.
very close.
So, but it's still, as far as in the information I've learned, it should never be the very first. It can be the second, but your other compound should be the higher one. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to
And
hold. I don't want to say. I already did.
and then sometimes you see, sugar as an ingredient, which is a weird ingredient in your vanilla extract.
Oh,
Like, it shouldn't
I
be there.
don't. Unless the alcohol is already. No, we can't.
It shouldn't be
Converting.
there.
Yeah, it
So I
shouldn't be
think
there.
some companies just add a little sugar to make it less bitter or less,
So
I don't know.
make
M
your own. It's cheaper, better for you, tastes better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I've covered just about all that I've got. If you do go to the site, they have a retail area. And that retail area has many, many more different beans than what I'm showing you here. This is only the beans that they've offered at the co-op. Now, so
Mhm.
far, I've ordered everything they have through the co-op.
That's
And
awesome.
some things I've ordered twice.
I will actually link them in the description. I don't know why I forgot to link them earlier, but in every vanilla video I have on my channel, I have linked to their group and their
Yeah,
website because they're just the best place to, in my opinion, in your opinion, I know as well, it's the best place to get your vanilla beans from. They're
I have,
ethical, their customer service is amazing. The Facebook group is the most positive group on Facebook, I swear. It's just a great alt. Everything about the company is great.
yes. And when I first started going there, I believe they barely had 1,000 people. And now they're way up there now. And I remember the influx. And I can remember going to other pages and saying, shh, don't tell anybody. Shh, it's our secret. Of course, I'm saying it in the other pages.
Right, yeah. But they've grown really from my perspective as a customer, it's been a smooth transition, like, they've grown I haven't seen a lot of growing pains. I don't know, maybe there have been growing pains, I haven't noticed them as a customer.
Yeah, and me either as a customer, their mods that run the sites are very knowledgeable, very helpful. I've never seen anybody bash anybody or speak down to anybody, and maybe they're just not letting those types of posts come in, which I give them credit for because
Yeah,
that's a
they
big
run a
group
tight
to monitor.
they
It's a
run a
very
tight
big
ship,
group.
and I appreciate that, you
Yeah,
know?
I do too. I don't come for drama. I
No,
come to learn
exactly.
about beans and how to process stuff.
Oh, I almost missed a question. Do you ever mix beans? I know you did mention that earlier, but let's just revisit that quickly.
This is Mother Mix-a-Lot.
Otherwise known as a mother jar.
That's correct. Mother Mix-a-Lot has everything that I have ever made mixed together. So sometimes I have too much to fit into my jars. If I have any little extra or whatever, they go into Mother Mix-a-Lot. Mother Mix-a-Lot has been with me. She just keeps getting refilled every time I have a little decanting party, and she just keeps going. Okay. Oh, didn't talk about decanting. Your extraction of the beans, the extraction, after two processes, you pretty much have got all the vanilla out. Okay. So then that's when you go on to these other processes. You can try to extract more. Just don't know how much more you're going to get out of it. You kind of run into there's no return. It's not a
Yeah,
good return.
I think you kinda run out there after at a certain point.
Right.
Francis Hawkins says, "I only ordered 2 ounces of beans to start, with paste. I hope that's okay. Thank you." I made a video called Vanilla 101, and obviously, you go with your budget, what your budget will allow, but my personal opinion is your first order should be 10 ounces because
Yeah.
that's a good spot to start. Because 'cause you'll always wish you had more. As soon as you get that order, you're gonna be like, "I need to order more."
Well, I think a lot of people, I think my first order was 5 ounces because I was fearful. I was concerned that I would ruin it, that I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what I was doing. But this group is so helpful that if any question, they're so gracious to teach you. And then that took the fear away. And from that point on, I order if the beans are $9 an ounce, I order 10 ounces.
Mhm,
I limit myself to $100 for my order. Sometimes the Hawaiian beans, those were $22 an ounce. At
mhm.
$22 an ounce, I couldn't afford to do all of so I bought less.
Right.
And then when they came up a second time, I ordered again.
Yeah.
So with
You have
two
to go with
ounces,
your budget.
that's correct. Don't ever overdo your budget. Ever. Don't put yourself in vanilla bean debt. Don't do it.
Yeah,
You'll
don't
have
do
your
that.
husband walking by calculating.
My first order was 2 ounces too, so I mean, I'm all talk, like, I'm just saying if I could go back in time, I'd order 10 ounces.
That's right. Now I do. 10 ounces is what I order, or $100.
Yeah, or
Because
100.
again, I don't need to go broke.
That's
However, this has become, I don't want to say it's a passion, but it is certainly something I really enjoy doing.
I know, me too.
I enjoy being creative. Putting the bean paste in the dehydrator to create the bean powder. Oh my goodness. What a game changer for
You
me
know what?
because
I wanna get one of those, freeze dryers. I
I
would
do
lo
too.
Wouldn't that be cool? I really want one. I
They're
just don't know
so
where I would put it.
expensive. They're so expensive and big. They're so expensive and so big.
Uh-huh.
And I would love to, but I would have to make agreements with all of my neighbors that we'd all have to go in on it. I get it on Monday, you get it on Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's expensive, but the quality of product that comes out of a freeze dryer is beautiful. Just the
yeah,
colors and the texture is beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. I wonder what vanilla if you put in your vanilla paste in a freeze dryer, like, how amazing would that be? I just think
I think, yeah.
I would
Well, okay, so for me, the paste is made primarily with alcohol. And so I have a thought that the heated dehydrator will evaporate the alcohol better than a freeze dryer.
Yeah, I suppose that's
But,
right.
but if you are just taking the vanilla beans themselves and putting
Yeah.
them in there, I think
Mhm.
that'd be great. But I'd still wonder about the cold and the oil, the vanillin that's in the
If you
bean.
I wonder if you've extracted them a couple of times, there's probably not a lot left.
Might not be a problem.
Might not. I'm not sure. Tony, what does Tony have to say? My first order was 6 ounces. I'm doing 1 cup of each double fold vodka from a local distillery, white rum and whiskey. Yeah, that sounds great.
That
That
sounds a
would be
great assortment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like a nice assortment. A really great start.
Yeah. So many people, like I've said, have tried different alcohols and they it just really gives their cakes or their batters a different flavor. And of course, I'm all for flavor. I don't care how you get it.
I know people talk about using spiced rum, and I wonder what that would be like. Like, I don't think I'd bake maybe like pumpkin pie. Maybe that would be nice in. I can't imagine what I would want to put a spice in.
That would be really good though, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of people's tastes are so different.
Yeah.
And, I would never want to discourage anybody from doing what they wanted to do and what their taste buds told them.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
absolutely.
Just again, the only caveat is make sure you've got a high enough proof in your alcohol so that it can extract correctly and not too high of a proof so it doesn't burn it or dry it out. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. I think we should wrap things up. We've been
All
45
right.
minutes already. Wow.
You
Was
just
there anything else that we skipped over that what are those little tiny bottles? We didn't talk about those.
So all of these bottles here, these ones, these are when your beans have finished extracting, then you're going to decant. And decanting means you're just going to pour the liquid off into other jars and then put it away because again you add a limit on how much vanilla you can extract out of the bean. So what I do is I found a lot of these little jars at Michael's.
Oh,
I go in there when they have them on sale and I buy them up. I think I get them for $10 for 12 jars, which is very inexpensive for sealed jars. And then I decant them. I also found these little bottles at the Dollar Tree.
oh,
And these are probably about 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 teaspoons.
okay.
Perfect, perfect for people who want to try it, who
Right.
don't know if they like that particular vanilla or not. And it's wonderful. I do little handouts at the grocery store when I go through the grocery store. There's a man that sits at the cash register, is very nice. Every time I'm in there, I've heard people yell at him. He has got the best attitude. Every time I think about it, which is probably once or twice a month, I take him one or two of my little vanillas and I tell him, I do this. I say, I don't know if maybe told you, but I want to tell you thank you for being here today. Without you being here, I cannot purchase my products. So thank you. And here's a little gift from me that I can do.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really special.
Well, at the price that we receive our beans at, we can afford to give away some things to help other people.
Oh, for
We can do
sure.
that. We can say thank you. The man at the grocery store, the person that's sweeping the floor, the gas station attendant. These people are working for us so we can have something, whatever that is that they're there for. So it's okay to tell them thank you. I don't think anybody gets paid enough anymore. I don't care what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true. So it's like a gratuity.
Yes, yes. And it's just my way of saying thank you to them. It really is because I don't know. I just see abuse all over the place for people who service us.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you. And just be appreciative once in a while. So,
Yeah.
hey,
All
all
right.
right.
Well, I think we should say goodbye. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I know you prepared a lot to be here today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, this will be available in the replay. And if anybody has questions, maybe you, Kim, can check in once in a while on the video and see if I might message you if people are asking questions for you that you.
Perfect. That'd be great. Yeah, if I miss it, I will certainly go on and watch too.
Yeah, I get notifications when people make comments. So I'll let you know if there's something there that you might want to look at. All right. Well, thank you again. And thanks for everybody for watching. And we'll see you next time. Bye
My
for
pleasure.
now.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thanks.
wonderful day.
Thanks, you
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye.